Welcome to Driving in Korea, the regular vlog from inside Korea, where I drive in, usually around Seoul, and talking about Korean food and Korean travel. Got a little bit of lint on here. Oh, look, it's a green light. All right. So, happy Wednesday. It is a hot and muggy day in the lovely land of the morning calm. And I thought today, I was trying to think of a topic for today. Usually, you might hear me talking about news. But lately, I've just been ignoring the news a lot. Other than what's happening in Hong Kong, one of my favorite cities in the world, and I'm very worried about Hong Kong. Yeah, I have not been following. I've been following a little bit about I have been following the Japan-Korea brawl, and it is concerning. We've seen, I really shouldn't be giving opinions on it. On one side, I really agree with Korea's argument about Japan's behavior, but Korea's behavior has not been angelic. We've had some isolated incidents of racism, anti-Japanese racism, as in not really against the government or their policies, but actually against Japanese people themselves, who really don't have anything to do with this whole thing, and using racial slurs, like businesses not letting Japanese people inside. It's not a proud moment in modern Korean history right now, I would say. Nonetheless, I was thinking about today's topic would be where to stay if you're visiting Seoul. I'm not going to really talk about specific hotels, because hotels are always changing, and there are always many more hotels. I'm talking about specific areas. Now, this is based on what I know of Seoul, and discussing with many guests we've had on the tours, their experiences with places to stay. But before I get to that, may I talk about, please subscribe to our channel on Zen Kimchi. Hit that little bell so that you get notified every time I post a new video, and like this video, and also comment, put any questions in the comment, suggestions you want as topics for driving in Korea, or place your bets of whether or not I'm going to have an accident while recording. If I get up to 1,000 subscribers, I get to do this live. Yay. Also, I wanted to give a shout out to Jingle Jangle ASMR. She took our Dark Side of Seoul tour a couple of weeks ago, and I was very stoked. She took the tour, and then she mentioned that she's an ASMR artist. Whoa, hello. Alright, we should get in this lane. Yeah, I'm one of those people who likes ASMR, so what? I'm kind of private about stuff like that, though. I think ASMR is just something that's sort of intimate and private, so I'm not like, you're not going to go to an ASMR concert with a bunch of people. It's a very private thing. But I was stoked to meet my first ASMR artist. Jingle Jangle ASMR, and I've never seen anything like this before. She does ASMR travel vlogs, and she recently posted one that included the Dark Side of Seoul tour, and she said amazing things about it, and she's one of the few ASMR vlogs that has a sense of humor. So check her out. I'll put a link to her channel in the comments. This week, what's been going on this week? I've been so busy. And meeting lots of friends. Lots of old friends have been coming into town, so I've been doing that. Old friend, my old boss, Haven't seen them in 9 years. Came to Korea and we had a great time at Maloney's. And then, oh, last night, we just got our first intern. So yay, we have interns. I'm gonna work out. That's the thing, is I haven't had interns because I didn't know what type of paperwork I had to do. So I'm looking into the paperwork now. Could always use an extra hand, and at the same time, I think I have a lot to teach. I mean, that's one reason I'm doing these videos, is I want to share what I've learned. I'm looking forward to having a new member on our team, even for a short while. Okay, so places to stay in Korea. I'm not going to do like a top 10 list, like from worst to best. I mean, I am going to talk a little bit. I am going to save maybe the best for last. But I'm just going to name general areas that I know people go to. The most popular area people stay in on my tours that I know of is Myeongdong. It's pronounced Myeongdong, not Myeongdong. When you're in the romanization of Korean, EO is pronounced ah, not EA. You say Seoul, not Seoul. There's a silly, I've heard one story about why it's EO and it sounds silly, so, but that's what we're stuck with. EO is pronounced ah, as in song. So, Myeongdong. Popular place. It's a very touristy place. It's the Times Square of Seoul, I say, in the sense that it's full of tourists and locals rarely go there. I've barely been in Myeongdong these days. It's just not my bag. The food has gone downhill. There's no food. There's hardly any good food there anymore because they've just the rent has just priced the good restaurants out. You can't do a good, decently priced restaurant there. When your rent is so high, but you can't price your food very high, you're going to have to cut costs somewhere. And it goes into the quality of the food. It's just... So, only street food's good in Myeongdong. Anyway, but as far as a place to stay, it is a decent location for touristy stuff. There are a lot of affordable hotels in that area. It's full of energy. It's very convenient to Seoul Tower, the Cheonggyecheon Stream, a lot of the palaces, almost all of them within walking distance if you're willing to walk that far. You can get a lot of stuff done in that one time. And you're in Myeongdong, which is a great place for souvenirs, like makeup souvenirs. So generally, I kind of give it like it's half and half. People who are really into food, they have been disappointed with Myeongdong, but they've also said that it's been good for getting to other places. I suggest if you're going to stay in that general area, try to go towards North Seoul, Jongno area, near City Hall, near Gwanghwamun. That's where the Four Seasons is. If that gives you any. Helps you figuring out where you are. There are lots of areas that you can get some B&Bs. Usually a lot of the Hanok stays are in that area. Now the Hanok stay over in Bukchon, it's romantic. Keep in mind, only do that if you want to get away from everything, because there is zero nightlife in that area. Aggressively zero nightlife. But if other places in North Seoul, like near Gwanghwamun, the eastern side of Gyeongbokgung Palace, there are lots of things to do. There are a lot of great B&Bs there. People have said they had some of the best times when they stayed in that area. And you get decent restaurants. You're convenient to the palaces and a lot of the things you want to see on your first days. That's great. Okay, so let's move down south. Let's go across the river to Gangnam, the famous Gangnam style. Really, I'll just say this. Only stay in Gangnam if you're going to go to a convention at the COEX. That's the only reason to stay in Gangnam. Or, oh no, second reason. If you're really heavily into K-pop and you want to go to all the K-pop museums, that's where to go. Other than that, logistically, it is one of the most inconvenient areas to stay in Seoul as a tourist. Gangnam's only good if you're planning to only stay in Gangnam, because everything else is so far away from Gangnam. And the food, I say the farther one gets away from Gangnam, the better the food gets. Same reason as Myeongdong. The prices are the rents are just so darn high there that you got to have either an expensive fine dining restaurant, a dessert cafe where you can do large margins. Cafes, there are lots of cafes in Myeongdong. But regular Korean food, it's not that good there, generally. Because they have to cut corners. They have to make money somehow, and they usually cut corners in food quality. There's a good temple to see in Gangnam. Gangnam at night is really kind of cool looking. The nightlife there is really exciting. So that's all I would say about Gangnam. Go to Gangnam if you're into K-pop, if you're going to go to a convention at the COEX, and you're really interested in nightlife, and you're not really interested in seeing palaces or anything like that. All right, Dongdaemun. Dongdaemun is another head scratcher. Now that's where the DDP, the Dongdaemun Design Plaza, is, which is trying to be what we call a weenie, a central landmark, tourism landmark, and it started off okay, but I'm hearing it's becoming a ghost town right now. It's good intentions, but it hasn't been, not much has been happening there. There are clothing stores there. Stay in Dongdaemun if you're going clothes shopping, especially if you want to hit that midnight clothing market. Other than that, logistically, yeah, it's easier to get to the palaces than Gangnam is, but yeah, it's still kind of a raunchy area. It's still a little rough around the edges. How about that? Rough around the edges. You're gonna, if you're staying in Gangnam, you're gonna do everything else you're gonna do is out. I mean, sorry, Dongdaemun. If you're gonna stay in Dongdaemun, everything else is outside of Dongdaemun. Let's see, what's another popular area people stay in? Okay, I'm just gonna go say Hongdae University area. This is Hongdae, Hapjeong, Yeonnam, that whole area. I'd say that's the #1 best place to stay. Pretty much everyone, including my cousin, I suggested it to him. He said, "My God, that was the best place." Yeah, everyone has really enjoyed Hongdae. The reasons, of course, the nightlife there. That it is a great place for people watching. It's full of cute cafes. It's full of amazing nightlife. You got street musicians, buskers everywhere. Just people are really fun. They're just dressed up really fun there. It's okay. Gangnam is great. Everyone's pretty because everyone's gone to the same plastic surgeon. But Hongdae, you're gonna find like Friday afternoon. I was just walking down Hongdae. There's a guy with like it was a temporary tattoo, but it was a temporary tattoo of these Chinese characters going down his face like that in a line. I was like, wow, that was interesting. The ladies are dressed to the nines. The men, just everyone has a really cool personal style. That's what it is. It's personal style in Hongdae. Just so interesting that people watch there. The food is generally good. I'd say Hongdae is an experimental hotbed. You're going to find a lot of new ideas there, but there are also really good traditional restaurants as well. You can get some of the best Korean food. You can get some of the best some really good burgers, some decent Mexican, really great pizza. You get lots of things, and of course drinks and clubs are great in Hongdae. And so Hongdae is known for its B&Bs. Lots of B&Bs in Hongdae. Also the Rise Hotel, the Holiday Inn there. Holiday Inn is very nicely located. Okay, so that's a good one. Some that you might not think about. Yeouido, the Island District, Business District. Likely you will only be at Yeouido if you're doing a business trip. And they'll put you in the Conrad. Yeouido, do your business in Yeouido and get the F out of Yeouido at night. There's nothing. It's dead at night. There's, again, no food in Yeouido. It just caters to office workers. So it's going to be during lunchtime. Yeah, you can get all the baekban. You get all the office meals. Oh man, if you can get into this, I think it's the Shinan building. There's a cafeteria near the top of the Shinan building. I used to be able to go there because my office was in the IFC towers. That was great. It was just like 3,000 won, like $3 for a pretty decent Korean cafeteria meal. Very filling and I just love that. This is what I love. I love, when I go to a country, I love the slice of life. I don't need to have the fanciest, the ultimate food. I want what everyday people are eating, because I want to absorb that culture. I think I grow when I see a culture through someone else's eyes as close as I can. So that's why I love going to a Korean office cafeteria. Really fun. Now, access to one is fairly hard for a tourist. I'm sorry. But that's the only good stuff I saw in Yeouido. Nightlife, there's some drinking there, but it's for office parties. It's an ajishi lifestyle down there. But right next to Yeouido is Gongdeok, Mapo. There are a few hotels there. There's a Best Western. There's a Sheila Stay. I think there's some B&Bs in that area. If you can stay in Gongdeok, that is logistically the best place to stay in Seoul. As in, it is connected to the airport line, the AirX line, so you can zoom in and out. And because of that, it is connected. It is just one stop away from Hongdae. It is one stop away from Seoul Station. The only place it's inconvenient to is Gangnam, but, you know, screw Gangnam. It is pretty cool. One area I forgot to mention, Itaewon. Itaewon's going through a change right now. Now, Itaewon is kind of the foreigner section. It's like how Chinatown is to San Francisco. This is America Town in Seoul. And it's a great place for nightlife, good clubs. If you want non-Korean food, and I don't just mean like burgers and pizzas. I mean like we got some really good Middle Eastern cuisine, West African cuisine there, South African cuisine. We have Japanese, actually. We have some pretty good Japanese in that area. It's going through changes right now. The reason is the U.S. Army base moved away last year, and also it got really trendy for a while, and so it's a 1-2 punch against Itaewon when the base left, and then it started falling out of favor with the Instagram crowd, what I call the Gangnam Locust, and they all left. But at the same time, the landlords there, they haven't really paid attention to the market, or they're just being stubborn. So they've kept their rents extremely high, will not cut them. So you have entire buildings that are empty, abandoned. They've chased a lot of the restaurants out, but there's still stuff to do in Itaewon. It is also a good central place. There's the Hamilton Hotel there. There are lots of B&Bs there. If you're staying there, I suggest going to Maloney's, my favorite hangout. It's a nice Irish pub, Boston Irish pub. Well, also the Wolfhound, Route 66. I should just do another video about like places to have a drink and meet people. This is why I like Maloney's so much. It's so easy to meet people at Maloney's because you don't meet them; they will meet you. They will come up to you if you're sitting at the bar. They will find a way to. They want to know who you are and want to know what your story is, and they will share their stories with you and likely give you a shot of Jameson. I rarely go to Maloney's without getting a shot of Jameson. Someone will always pay for one. But do not go to Itaewon. Okay, so Itaewon is good if you want some nightlife, if you want something that's English friendly. It is decently located. Not as conveniently located as Gongdeok. It is more conveniently located if you want to go to Gangnam, though. If you don't mind taking the bus or a taxi. But then again, getting a taxi in Itaewon is hell. Taxis, I'd like to avoid that area. But Itaewon is not good if you want an immersion into Korean culture and Korean food. And as far as people say, if you're going to go visit Seoul and you have a limited number of days, don't visit Itaewon. Visit Itaewon if you have at least 4 or 5 days and you want to just try something different. It's really interesting to see how expats live in a foreign country. So you see something like, if you're American visiting Seoul, it's interesting to see how Americans adapt to living in Seoul, living in an Asian country. The same way as like how you see other immigrants around the world adapt to the local culture. All right, I'm trying to think of any other places to stay, areas to stay. There's some places on the outskirts. I mean, sometimes you might have to stay in Incheon. You're on a layover. There's not much to do in Incheon. Especially if you're staying near the airport. There's nothing on the airport because it's a man-made island. I live on the border of Gimpo and Incheon. There is some stuff. There are some good places in Incheon. There's some good Korean places. There's some good places to get a craft beer. But the getting around, I mean, there is a subway system, but every time I've gone to Incheon for anything, it just takes forever to get through that city. It's full of. I mean, I think that's where Korea stores all its extra traffic lights is in Incheon, because you cannot get 200 meters without stopping at a red light there. Gimpo's becoming that way as well. But do some research on Incheon. I mean, of course, Incheon is a great place for overnight. I mean, if you just go in, get yourself maybe some Korean barbecue. We have a little bit of a Chinatown, which is kind of a fake Chinatown now. I like it. It's where what they call the birthplace of jjajangmyeon, black bean noodles. It's a great place for Koreanized Chinese food. That's what I can think of as culinary-wise in Incheon. Where else to stay? Ooh, see, I'm hitting every red light here. Oh gosh, someone's yelling at me like, "Where? No, but what about this place?" I mean, southwestern Seoul, Shilin and Yeongnupo. That's the closest we get to the bad part of town. And even the bad part of town is not bad. I used to live in Shilin. We called it Shilin. It's improved a lot since I used to live there. But, I mean, when I lived there, there was a serial killer there. And just recently, there's a big story of Shilin about some guy following a woman home. And CCTV's caught him. And that's in Shilin. So it's still... It's not a pretty area either. I mean, they're trying to improve it by building all these department stores, mega department stores. But I don't think you traveled halfway around the world to go to a department store. Westernized department stores. Yeah. And I used to live in Anyang, which is just right south of that as well. And I love Anyang. It has its charms, but only go to places like Anyang if you're really staying in Korea for a long time. So generally, okay, so to sum up, the places to stay. Number one, I would say Hongdae. Hongdae. Generally logistics, nightlife, food. I mean, there's a BuzzFeed article about, hey, like 50 stuff you can do in Seoul. 50 things you can see in Seoul. And I noticed, like, I commented, like, you never left Hongdae the whole time. So yeah, a BuzzFeed hack could come up with a whole article of 50 things to do in Seoul just in Hongdae. I also say, I really say Mappo and Gongdok. It is really off the radar of all the travel blogs and all the travel brochures and everything. No, Gongdok, Mappo, really super convenient. And the people I know who've stayed there have really loved it. Next would be North Seoul. Gwanghwamun, Gyeongbokgung, Jongno, Junggu. Stay in that area. That's, again, logistics. You're close to all the palaces. Then maybe Myeongdong. Maybe Itaewon. The only ones I say, just avoid Gangnam. Don't stay in Gangnam. Very few guests on any of my tours who stayed in Gangnam had really loved Gangnam, and the ones that did, they did it because of the K-pop. Now sometimes you might have a you have to go to a convention at Kintex, which is in Ilsan, northwest. It's a suburb northwest of Seoul. It's right near me. Ilsan has its charms. It's if you're stuck at Kintex, if you can get into Seoul, do it. But if logistics, if it's too far for you, go near the lake park. There is La Festa, a shopping area, and near that is what we call Meat Street, and it's just a few blocks of Korean barbecue. And you'll notice also too, because the street carts are selling giant skewers of barbecued chicken. So La Festa area around Ilsan. Other than that, it's kind of charming in the sense of it's what a modern Korean town looks like. That was built as a modern Korean town from the ground up. It is the home of Hyundai. This is the town that Hyundai built. Hyundai, not Hyundai. It's Hyundai, pronounced like Sunday. So if you find yourself in Ilsan, yeah, do that. Contact me. Maybe we'll hang out. I'm not that unapproachable, I think, I hope. If I'm free, I'll do it. And I think that's it. I think those are the places you're going to stay. I hope this is helpful to you. Please, again, if you like this video, if you like it, if you stuck around this far, and leave any questions you have in the comments. As you say, ask me any questions. I'll make up an answer for you. All right, I'm almost home. All right, until next time. 안녕히 계세요.